I was looking at the Subways, the McDonald's, and you name it, right? Domino's and so on. And there's three different kind of variables for me that came into consideration. One, am I a buyer or user of that product? And for many of them, not really. Two, I didn't want to take on an opportunity that forces me to be a terrible husband or awful father, right? Which go back to my corporate days or my finance days. Like I would look at myself in the mirror, wake up and curse when I was back in finance. So I feel like with Chick-fil-A, they care about family. They care about, the community and so on. So I'm like, all right, I want to make an impact in the community. Which of these brands, companies can I align myself with to make an impact in the community, make sure I'm a good father, good husband, and of course also be profitable, make money and so on. So Chick-fil-A kind of fit all of those criterias.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the More Rounds podcast. I'm your host, Kim Lewis, CEO and co-founder of Chromix. And today, you guys, we have none other than Kareem Edwards here with us. He is the first Black owner and first owner of a Chick-fil-A in Chicago, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And I was so excited because, one, that's incredible, but he's also done some amazing things before owning this business. And I really just want to bring him to the couch so that we can talk about it and teach you guys how to get started if you want to become a franchisee.
Franchisee, yep.
Franchisee, okay, with Chick-fil-A. Awesome. But first, we have to do our cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
So, Kareem,
Yeah.
before we get started about Chick-fil-A, can you tell us your background? Where did you start? What were you doing before you became a franchisee?
Yeah. Born and raised in Queens, New York. Blessed to get a scholarship through the Posse Foundation. So I attended DePaul University, majored in mathematics. So during my sophomore year, intern on Wall Street at Bloomberg LLP. My following year, junior year, intern at Lehman Brothers. So when I graduated, went back home to New York, started my career on Wall Street on the fixed income desk, money market desk, doing short-term paper. So I rode that out until Lehman went bankrupt in September 16, and then Barclays acquired us. And that's when I moved from New York to Chicago, still doing fixed income, but for Barclays. I did that for about another year and a half. I went to BAML, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, to focus more on regulatory. And then during that time, like, okay, I'm doing a lot of finance. I appreciate it. I'm learning a lot, but the culture wasn't for me. I didn't feel like I was tapping into the passion that I have for community, for impact. So I'm like, okay, I got to switch something up. Joined MLT to help me prepare for business school. Applied to several schools, got into University of Michigan, Ross. Then went to business school at Ross and graduated in 2015, and then pivoted my career into marketing. Upon graduating, joined Kraft Heinz doing brand management work, and that was probably like my, I guess, test in entrepreneurship. So in brand management, you kind of own like a P&L, own a business, so trying to figure out, okay, what are all the levers I could pull to maximize profit, kind of make sure the guests having a great experience. I was doing that for about 3 years, and then pivot to Google to see if I can learn more about technology. During that time is when I started applying for Chick-fil-A to see if I could become a franchise owner. And that took about 3 years to the beginning of the first interview to the time I launched my store.
And what were you doing at Google?
Google, I was on the sales side doing sales marketing.
Okay.
So helping executives, more important, e-commerce companies to meet their goals. So whether marketing or business objectives.
Okay. I had a completely different mindset for this actual podcast interview, but you went from iBanking, finance, to marketing and brand management, to sales. Mm-hmm. So you basically touched every facet of the business.
Correct.
Before you became a franchise owner.
Yep. And I think it helped because every aspect kind of had a foundational strategy. Like, what are your goals? How do you kind of accomplish it in a different way, but strategy nonetheless. So
but what I typically don't hear is people do leave finance and go start businesses. They typically don't leave finance and pick other industries because that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
What was the culture so bad?
It was different. I mean, we talk often about like being the first. I was the only Black person on the trading floor back at Barclays, and this is 2009. Often we'll work hard, go to dinner, we'll have conversations, and I just didn't feel like it was allowing my values, what I was trying to do. So I'm like, all right, something needs to change. Either me or the culture. The culture is not going to change. So I needed to remove myself from that space.
Gotcha.
I just wasn't happy. Money was great. I mean, at that time, I was on the cover of Cranes, like killing it, but feeling depressed and unhappy. So something had to change.
What were you making like in ad banking in 2009?
I was in sales and trading. I was probably about 160,
Okay.
180.
Okay. And this is 2009, so that's really good. And then when you moved into like, what was it, Kraft Heinz, right? And you were in the brand management piece. Did you take a pay cut?
I did.
Ooh, what was the pay cut?
I went down to 115 before bonus, and the bonus in brand management is not a lot. Probably another 10 to 20, so call it 135.
Gotcha. And then are you able to say what you was making at Google?
Yeah.
Okay. What was you making at Google?
I was in sales. So if you hit your quotas, then you get higher take home. So mid threes to upper threes.
Okay. Gotcha. And, I can't, of course we don't have to get into what you're doing right now at Chick-fil-A, but that's dope.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay. How much money did you need to have saved up to become a franchisee?
So depending on which model you approach, so Chick-fil-A model is very different than other restaurants.
Can you talk about the models?
Yeah. So in Chick-fil-A, as a owner-operator, you don't have equity. So if, God forbid, if I was to pass away, my wife, my kids would not inherit my store.
Okay.
Corporate owns it.
Gotcha.
While McDonald's, you're paying into it, you own equity, you have the real estate, and so on.
Okay.
So it's more of a agreement of kind of owning a part of the business and then splitting the profit.
Gotcha.
Right? And then you pay $10,000 to join for like a franchisee fee, but it's other startup costs, whether it's from a labor perspective. So ideally, you're not starting by yourself. You're hiring people. How soon do you hire them before you grand open? You pay for other items such as clothing, uniform, things of that nature. So kind of pile up real quick what that startup cost would be. And then you got to think about kind of like your salary, right? So I'm leaving Google. How much money was I making at Google versus when I get my first check? Gotcha. So you factor that in for several months, it could total up to a good amount.
So from your story and your background, I'm learning that, and it's funny because you were in stocks and investments, but would you consider yourself like a risk-averse person? Or maybe in the past?
Yeah, in the past, like, before kids, like, all right, I'll take a shot here, try this. Now with kids, like, okay, I'm used to a certain lifestyle. But to me, leaving Google was like a big risk, right? It was comfortable.
Yeah.
I left at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and went home.
Did y'all see the eyebrow furrow? Because he was just like, it was comfortable. Yeah. Like, he's like, you're not comfortable now.
No. Now you might get a phone call at midnight on a Sunday about, for some pipes that might be frozen or whatever it may be.
Oh.
So you're never, at least for me, not peacefully sleeping as much as I was back in the good old corporate days.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you could have picked a dozen other franchises. Mm-hmm. Why this one? Did you look at other ones? What other ones did you look at, and what were you considering?
Yeah, I was looking at the Subways, the McDonald's, and you name it, right? Domino's and so on. And there's 3 different kind of variables for me that came into consideration. 1, am I a buyer or user of that product? And for many of them, not really. 2, I didn't want to take on an opportunity that forces me to be a terrible husband or awful father, right? Which go back to my corporate days or my finance days. Like, I would look at myself in the mirror, wake up, and curse when I was back in finance. So I feel like with Chick-fil-A, they care about family. They care about, the community and so on. So I'm like, all right, I want to make an impact in the community. Which of these brands, companies can I align myself with to make an impact in the community, make sure I'm a good father, good husband, and of course also be profitable, make money, and so on. So Chick-fil-A kind of fit all of those criterias. And then through like the extensive interview process, I found myself like, okay, this feels good, right? It was kind of like dating until we got married. Like, okay, it's 3 years in. I feel good about.
Oh, 3 years from start to finish when you actually open your store?
Yeah, interview was long. So
wow.
I was at Google. I would go work, and then my daughter's born in September 2018. I would go home, check on the family, and then I would go work at a Chick-fil-A for a couple of hours to see, like, all right, does this make sense? Is this what I'm about to get myself into? Can I do this? Do I like it? And it was about a 3-year process.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I don't know if I could have made it. I would have been like, all right, don't y'all want me to make this money? I'm going to make some profits for y'all. Why is it taking 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Is that normal? Or was yours like a special case?
No, I think on average it's about 2.5 years. I opened in January 2021, so we got extended a little bit late because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But on average, 2 years or so.
If you've seen any of the content we produced or Chromix online and thought, man, I want to invest in that company, now's your chance. Go to chromix.com/invest and you can become an investor today. Now back to the episode. So you also saw other entrepreneurs or companies with Google making money e-com. Mm-hmm. Why choose a franchise business over starting your own, or like, you know what I mean? What was the thought there?
Yeah.
Did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought about it for a second or two. And you know the space more than me, but I thought of like raising money and being a person of color and minority. Like, all right, I was leaving corporate because I was tired of people saying, yeah, we love it, you're doing great, but then no. Well, franchise, like, all right, this seemed a little bit more cut and dry.
Yeah.
I get opportunity, I eat what I kill.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask someone for money. I don't need to raise too much money. I have the bank to kind of start and do it. So for me, it was just kind of more easier path of entrepreneurship without having to worry about some of the other factors around getting the capital to start.
Kareem, you did something that I usually advise entrepreneurs not to do.
Okay.
Which is get their MBA.
Yeah.
Looking back on that experience, as someone who's, oh my gosh, you've done so many things. From just literally the list that you just went through. And I almost applied to business school. Yeah. When I was an entrepreneur for 5 years. My business was not successful. I was like, I haven't made more than $100,000 annually. I could just go work somewhere and live. And that, making $100,000 as an entrepreneur, I was not profiting $100,000. I was losing money. So I was like, I'm spending money to call myself an entrepreneur. This doesn't make any sense. And I was pregnant with Zuri at the time. So this was 2017. And I went to go take the GMAT, and I did not study like I needed to. Oh my God, my score was terrible.
GMAT.
And I was just like, this is foreign language. And I was just like, you know what? Tim was like, Kim, if you're good enough, as an entrepreneur, you'll be invited back to teach. And you don't have to go to get your MBA. And so I was just like, okay. But also I'm just bad at test taking. So I'm not going to land in like a top school. Then why even go? And so what was your rationale behind going? Looking back, do you think you needed it? And would you recommend it to other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, this is back like 2012. And I was doing finance for like 5+ years. So I was applying for different roles, company, and every time I apply, like, you're a math major, you work in finance, we need you in finance. Like, I don't want to be in finance. Like, I'm trying to get out. I want to do strategy. I want to do marketing, right? I want to touch all the different part of the whole supply chain. Like, get me out of it. So business school for me at the time was a way to pivot out of finance and have more options, right? So I wasn't wholeheartedly focused on entrepreneurship. So I don't regret it. And then also, if I'm being honest, business school full time is much more relaxing than part time while you're working and so on. So it was a break from corporate America, which allowed me to reset and kind of figure out all right, what do I want to be when I grow up? Yeah. How do I want to navigate X, Y, and Z? And then the Michigan network, I mean, from a personal, professional standpoint, I love it. I went to DePaul. I think DePaul was great, but something about when I'm traveling the world and I have a Michigan hat on, and someone go blue, and I can scream it back. I drink the Kool-Aid when it comes to Michigan. So I don't regret it. I think it was great for me in terms of the network, learning. And my biggest takeaway from Michigan wasn't the hardcore classes of financial accounting, but more so the soft skills of how do you engage with people, how do you incentivize people. So they focus a lot on the people side and development, which to me is critical as an entrepreneur. And
do you think that helped you run your Chick-fil-A franchise?
Yeah, even from if I needed. So the way I found out about Chick-fil-A and even the aspect of working corporate Chick-fil-A or entrepreneurship as an owner-operator was a Michigan alum. Who posted in a Michigan alum group me, hey, does anyone want to learn about Chick-fil-A? And I was at Craft doing what I thought was all right, I'm testing the water entrepreneurship. And I never met this guy. I hit him up hey, I want to learn more about Chick-fil-A. And he just held my hand, walked me through the process, all right, this is what you need to do. This is who you need to speak with. The next person was a Michigan alum. So that network helped me to kind of pursue this opportunity.
What kind of control do you have over the business? What is your lane? I can do this, but no, this is Chick-fil-A and they can do that.
Yeah, the people side is all on the owner-operator.
Okay.
So anything from hiring, retention, development is on the owner-operator.
Yeah.
Of course, from a some vendors or supply vendors like the food, we scale across the country or different markets. I can't pick those suppliers.
Okay.
But then the other suppliers, from anything from floor cleaning to trash and so on, I could pick.
Okay.
So certain level of vendors I could pick, which gives me opportunity to be a little bit more intentional about diversity, equity, inclusion, right?
Yeah.
So all my vendors I have are underrepresented groups in Chicago, probably small mom and pop shops, who I'm now able to kind of give some money and more work and more experience to, which is rewarding.
You know, you're the reason I eat Chick-fil-A now. I'm for real. I used to not eat it because I remember being like, man, like they're like anti-queer, like anti-gay and stuff like that. And then you were like, no, Kim, that's actually not true. But also I'm able to hire, what did you say? What percentage of your staff was actually like LGBTQ?
Openly, it was 45% back then.
I thought that was so dope. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that as a franchise owner, you could choose who you were working for you. And then in that way you could still be diverse. And so I was like, all right, pass me them chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've been able to make more impact in my time in corporate America, because now I'm like, okay, this is what we want to put our values on. This is what we want to do. So our first year, we partnered with Howard Brown for like a year and a half, both from a recruiting standpoint, both from a grant standpoint.
And what's in Howard Brown for our listeners? What's that?
Howard Brown focused more on LGBT plus community for people of color in the Chicago area.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it was great. Great partnership. And this is from grand opening, right? So my time in corporate America, I had to write a proposal and get buy-in from all the leaders to do X. Now I don't, which makes it quicker and more rewarding to be in this space.
Gotcha. Are you able to own other businesses or other franchises while you own this franchise?
No, so you have to be a passive investor or owner or anything else. You can't be active.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's another change or difference with Chick-fil-A. So
Okay.
if I want to own, like, I don't know, a real estate empire that's passively kind of running itself, cool. But I can't buy like a Amazon distribution point or Subway, things of that nature.
Ah, okay. I mean, how would they know?
That's a good question.
It's okay. I don't know nothing. Kareem has not told me anything about any other businesses that he may ever enter. I do not know. Okay. If you're a corporate watching this, just so you know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Looking back on the Kareem who was, bright eyed and bushy tailed, working at Google, thinking about, preparing for this franchise, any advice you give yourself before jumping in?
Yeah. Number one advice, give and receive grace. Entrepreneurship is hard. I remember when we first properly met at the CEO spring break and just hearing people testimonies about how hard it was.
Yeah.
That was like eye-opening to me because I was beating myself up. Right? I wanted this certain level. We're in a pandemic. I'm hiring new people. I'm a little more dependent on people. I can't do everything myself. So I had anxiety, wasn't sleeping. So I wish I gave myself more grace to understand, like, hey, this is a new opportunity, a new journey. You're not going to be perfect. Rather than like thinking this is going to be chef kiss from day one. So grace would be number one. Two, that community entrepreneurs, or whoever your village is. So when you do have that kind of down cycle, hopefully you're quickly able to kind of pull back up.
Yeah.
Be the second one. And then three, leveraging technology to kind of make things easier. I quickly got a virtual assistant to help me out. Some other apps to kind of be a little bit more organized with my team and so on. Just to make things a little bit more doable and easier.
The number one question I get is, Kim, will you coach me? Will you mentor me? Will you advise me on raising funding? And it's really hard to do one-on-one things, but I am going to launch a community to help you guys fund your business. And the way you get access to that community is by clicking the link in the show notes, kimlewisceo.com, and join the mailing list. You'll be first to know when I'm dropping a community so we can help you fund your business. All right, now back to the episode. I always look to people who own franchises like, oh, like they picked the easy route. Like they didn't want to. Do you think that? Do you think you picked the easy route?
So I could argue both sides.
Yeah.
On one side, no. I have 105 people on payroll.
Oof.
105 personalities, right? And different challenges or issues. At any given day, I'm probably dealing with something that's a very serious factor for that one individual that would impact the business. While if I did like a startup or another business, maybe it's a team of 5. And I do believe the hardest part of any business is the people.
Yeah.
So on that side, no. But on the flip side, I'm grateful and privileged that I partner with Chick-fil-A. So if I do need help, they have all the tools or experience to help me fix a problem that someone who's solely entrepreneur without that partnership may need to hit their head or kind of go through themselves to solve. So
is the information out there for the average Chick-fil-A store and like what it's, and I'm not asking you yours. I'm just curious because I know some average numbers for other franchises. Like if you had a Hudson News location in the airport, it might make you $1 or $2 million a year or something like that. Or I've known like a McDonald's store might make you like so much money. Are the numbers out there for a Chick-fil-A average or no?
No, Chick-fil-A is a private company. So the numbers out there, I think it's more assuming or guessing, but not hard facts on what those numbers are.
Gotcha. The reason I asked that was because I don't think people have any idea about this lane of business. You know what I mean? I think that people are thinking I have to go, and I actually think picking a franchise is actually smarter in some ways, but you really go from like not having a business to having a big business almost immediately, which there's no, I don't say there's no progression, like yes, but no, because my business started with $0 in revenue, and then I had to climb to 10K, then climb to 30K, then climb to $500,000, then climb to $1 million, and then climb to $10 million. But when you have a brand like a Chick-fil-A, you might be a multi-million-dollar store in your first year.
And that's the grace part, right? Like you're going from zero because you've never done it before, all the way up to whatever that amount may be. It's like, oh wow, this is it.
What was the thing you needed grace for in that first year? What did you do wrong and you were like, oh, I wish I had going back, I should have done this?
Yeah, I was trying to make impact on the business side and the community side equally at the same rate.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get money first, okay?
Right, and this is during the pandemic. I mean, it was so challenging. There were times where,
man, you opened during the pandemic?
Yeah, we had to drive to other states to get product because we didn't get truck for a day or two.
Wow.
You can't give nuggets without Chick-fil-A sauce. They don't care what you're going through, right? So
Facts.
I would have kind of focused way more on the business than, all right, what is the community impact I want to have right now to stabilize it first, especially during this crazy time with the pandemic.
What were you doing to have community impact that you were like, okay, it was too early to be doing that?
Yeah, whether it's like partnerships with different organizations or giving a little bit more leniency on who we're hiring. Like, all right, that was me when I was 12 in New York City. They'll come around, right? But the fact, in that case, they're going to need more time to trust who you are as a leader.
Yeah. Because
they've probably been lied to their whole life, which was my case. So I saw a lot of little Kareem or Kareemas, whatever it may be, like, okay, I'm going to bet on them. But betting on one Kareem versus betting on 15 is very different. So probably give myself more grace. Like, all right, there'll be a time for that. Let's just focus on the foundation.
All right, so we're entering our lightning round. I'm going to ask you a few questions and then just want your honest answer. I mean, tell me why. So, favorite book that every entrepreneur should read?
I'm reading a book right now that I like, but it's not for every entrepreneur.
What's the one you're reading right now?
It's all about like genuine hospitality, which fits my model. I've been geeking out about it a lot.
Very on brand.
Yeah. So I'm just stuck on that, like, oh man, I didn't notice that part, or we could implement X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
Like, what's something that you realize you can implement from reading the book?
I think just understand, like, all right, if you simplify it, every customer matters, right? Like, how can you change their day? And then what tools my team need to change their day? I think it starts by changing their day as well, like my team. So just trying to have more human interaction with them so they could feel it and hopefully pass it on is important. I think right now in life, a lot of things are transactional. So how do you take a step back and make it a little bit more personal and deeper, even over some nuggets?
Most money you ever lost on a deal?
Whew. Probably about of my money, or when I was in like either side, corporate as well.
Both.
Okay,
That's a good,
corporate.
Now I want to know both.
Yeah, corporate. I fat finger a trade one time and lost about $180,000.
Okay.
On the trade.
What does fat finger mean?
So when you're like typing in a trade, we used to use a Bloomberg terminal, and let's say I'm doing a trade for $1,000, make it easy. I probably put 10,000 extra zero, or press like 1,005, whatever that slip up with my finger. So like a fat finger typo.
Oh, did you get fired for that?
No.
Okay.
I quickly came back and I was just embarrassed, right? Again, only black person on the trading floor, all eyes on me. So I created this process system to prevent it from happening again. That kind of saved me, I think. But that was, I think I lost like 5 pounds that week. I didn't eat. I was just stressed out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was tough. Of my own money, trying entrepreneurship, probably about 45,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share what happened while you lost 45K?
Me and a friend of mine were trying to dive in entrepreneurship, and we thought we could do this event, and we thought we had some backing, and then a couple of weeks before, that backing fell through. So we didn't have all the revenue we thought we would have from the event, so we had to eat it.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, Kareem, it's so funny. You took in my opinion, from the people that sit on this couch and they talk to me about entrepreneurship, right? Like, you probably have quite a bit of money left in your bank account because you're like very conscious of these decisions. You're not like out here just throwing money to the wind.
Yeah, I'm frugal. And
I love
anyone
it.
who knows me knows I'm frugal. So
I love it. I joke to people all the time. I'm like, if I had stayed in corporate, I would have more money now than I do if, some big acquisition or something happens with Chromix. And so now I realize I'm holding out for a big outcome at some point, but I've sacrificed all of my short-term earning potential.
Yeah, it makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah, he was like, not me.
Yeah. Saying corporate was cushy, just.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for you. I like to see black folks paid and comfortable. That's what I like to see, okay? Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Kareem, where can people find you to keep up with you?
Yeah, obviously on LinkedIn, Kareem Edwards. On Instagram, Kareem J. Edwards. Those are probably the 2 main ways to find me.
Awesome.
And then you might see me at a Lively house party or something like that.
Oh,
so
sniggity snap.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we could talk about that, so I ain't mentioned it. Okay. Well, I'll see you at the next Blavity house party. Is there anything you want to leave with the people?
Just thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve. Grateful opportunity to kind of be next to Kim and leaders like Kim. So thank you for listening.
I'm flattered. And I love your journey, Kareem, because I think that people need to see different paths.
Yeah.
The Wild Wild West path ain't for everybody, and I don't even recommend it to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a person who's okay with having $3 million in the bank and then having $0 in the bank. And some people, you see, you was just like, I was like, I'm that person. Kareem is not that person. Kareem's like, I like my balance to be above $1 million at all times.
My daughter likes smoked salmon, all types of random stuff. Make sure she's good.
She could be with my kids who love crab legs.
At Soho House, just like, look at this. Different life.
My baby, so me and Kareem have kids that are the same age, and they've hung out before. And I remember my son, after school one day, whatever, he's like, Mommy, I would like crab legs for dinner. Yeah. He's like, and then I want to go to the trampoline park. And I was just like, And then my other baby, right, we went to Cape Town for December, the holiday. And he came back telling people we have 3 houses. He was like, we have one in Chicago, one in Atlanta, and one in Cape Town. Baby is 4 years old. I said, baby, we do not. And please don't tell nobody at school that. I was like, your mommy is renting, and we only have one home, okay? No, baby. And that was just a vacation. I'm like, these kids.
I love it, though, but different life.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much, Kareem.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. That's a wrap, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the More Rounds podcast. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.